Overtired. So tired. Overtired.
Welcome back to Overtired. This episode is sponsored by Notion. Stick around to learn more. The three amigos are back in the house. Amigos. We have Jeff Severance Gunsel, we have Christina Warren, and we have me, Brett Terpstra. The gang is back together for the first time in quite some time. Good to see you guys.
Good to be here.
Good to see you too. You know, I just watched, I don't know why, the Siskel and Ebert review of Three Amigos the other day on YouTube.
Okay, now, did they like it or not? Because I could see it going either way. I could see
they did not, but
I figured that Siskel I knew would hate it. Ebert, I was like, I could see it go either way.
Exactly. No, Ebert was warmer to it. But what I loved about that is I forgot how like cruel they could be to movies and to each other, which I kind of love. And also what I love about Ebert is like, he's like, no, I get it. This movie's terrible, but you know what? There were two amazing moments, right? Like I like that kind of like that nuance that you don't really get on TV anymore, right?
Yes.
Where like, yeah. But anyway, I don't know why I was watching it. I can't remember why I watched it.
That's amazing.
But I did watch it.
So very quickly, I'm going to give a plug to two books of Ebert's that are compilations of some of his reviews of his most hated films. So the first is called I Hated This Movie. And that title is from the 1994, I want to say, Elijah Wood movie called North. And I remember this because I remember reading this review when I was like 10 years old because I liked Elijah Wood because 10. But it is a truly terrible movie about a kid who tries to divorce his parents and then goes around the world trying to find replacement parents. It's a bad movie.
And you got to go all over.
And then the next one, which was published a few years later, it's called Your Movie Sucks. And so there again, like there are a number of compilations of all of his reviews, but Your Movie Sucks and I hated this movie are two of my favorites. He also has, I think, 5 volumes of the great movies, which is like all of his stuff. And then there's also like a thing of his 4-star reviews. I'm looking through Amazon right now and I'm like, how many of these things do I fucking have? And I have a lot of them in print or in digital form. Small Roger Ebert fan as a kid, as you and an adult, as you can tell. But anyway, if you ever want to read his very funny, not as good as maybe the TV show, because like you said, they were mean to each other. But they loved each other. But they were mean to each other.
Yeah, they were mean.
One of their best appearances was on The Critic, incidentally. And they when Siskel died, like Ebert even called that out as like one of their most fun experiences because they kind of liked each other, but they also kind of didn't. But anyway, which you can tell watching the show, but if you want to read just excoriating bad movies, like this is from his 1-star review of Armageddon from 1998. The movie is an assault on the eyes, the ears, the brain, common sense, and the human desire to be entertained. No matter why they're no matter what they're charging to get in, it's worth more to get out.
That's awesome. Well, okay, so before we move on from this very amazing random topic that was your fault, Brett, I realized what landed me at Siskel and Ebert's review, which is that I ended up landing also inexplicably on an episode of Johnny Carson where Roger Ebert is the guest and sitting next to him is Chevy Chase, who had been the guest just before him. And Roger Ebert is just panning that movie with Chevy Chase sitting next to him. And it's like this master class on how to be like, look, I'm just going to be straight up about what I believe, even though you're sitting right here. And that is also amazing. And I put a link in the show notes.
Oh, I love that. And I respect the fuck out of that, man. Like that, because genuinely, that's a hard thing to do. I mean, that
is a hard thing to do.
I consider myself one of those people who, because it happens sometimes, right? Like you accidentally insult someone or something that they're doing to their face. And then like you have two choices. Like you can either like lie about it, and you be like, oh no, I don't really think that, which I think is a coward's way out. Or you can just be like, I'm really embarrassed right now, and I don't know what else to say. Or you can do, I guess, what Ebert did, which is to just kind of be like, yeah, I'm just gonna be completely like bashing your movie to your face with a smile on mine and be like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, Chevy?
Just double down on it.
Right, just double down. And the funny thing is, for both of those, whenever they showed a clip, I was like, oh, that's really funny. But
You guys got some mental health to talk about? Because
Sure.
oh my god,
You go for it.
I
Do
have
you
way
want to go
too
first?
much.
Do you want to go
Sure.
first, or do you want to want one of us to go first? What do you want?
No, I can go first.
Okay.
I'll try to not dominate it. But so last Monday, I had a couples therapy session with my partner and an amazing therapist out of Minneapolis, and we dug into some trauma around my parents and my family and the things that were expected of us over the holidays. And it got me like angry. Like by the end of the session, I was like, I don't know what's going on exactly, but I don't like either of you right now. And I'm feeling very combative and I just have to go. And immediately after that session, I got a stomach ache. And that stomach ache lasted for 3 days. And I
man.
realized, like, because I put it together before that, like, most of the times I've been to the hospital with heart or stomach trouble in the last few years has been within 24 hours of dealing with my parents, of seeing my parents. And it turns out, even when I talk about something like, what are we going to do for Christmas? Do we have to see your parents? I project myself into that situation to gauge how I'm going to react. And I like full on astral project into the situation and have all of the resulting emotions. So even just thinking about my parents can make me physically ill. I knew better than to go to the hospital because I knew it was happening this time. But yeah, that was rough.
It's still real though. I mean, even if even if it's caused by an emotional experience, it's still a real bodily injury.
It was very, very real.
We'll hold off too long next time.
Very painful. And then I had my personal therapy on Thursday, and that was far less combative, but it dug up all this shit. And by the end of it, I realized all I wanted was drugs, loud music, and isolation, which are like historically my ways of dealing with trauma. And instead, I went out for pizza in a brightly lit, cool little shop called Muddled Time, and went out with Elle, and then went to an art fair, and it was I got through it, and the drug craving subsided, and being social and out was really good for me. But yeah, the therapy has been up, or the trauma has been up in force this last week.
That's intense. I appreciate. It's really hard to go, like, when you're feeling the, like, I want this, and this, to be like, I'm going to do the opposite. Like, I find it very hard. So it's really impressive.
I
Also,
have years of doing that under my belt. So,
well, I guess is that part of essentially being in recovery, or having been, I guess so.
Making good
Makes
choices.
sense.
At the age of 45, I'm adept at making good choices.
I mean,
I don't think we grow into only good choices or something. I don't think that's really our North Star.
Right. I mean, I agree.
I have a question for you. I know you may well have more to say. I've done just a little bit of couples therapy, and what I found was different and a little, and this may have just been the therapist, a little concerning, was that, when you're in therapy one-on-one, there's usually an opportunity or an intention on the part of the therapist to make sure that they're dropping you back into your day as gently as possible, right? Even if that's not always possible. But I mean, it's like, there's some kind of like, it's a goal, right? With couples therapy, I think that must be nearly impossible. And I think what you experience, like I've been there, where it's just like, wow, I got dropped off the cliff.
Yeah, there was one session where as we're like talking about like what we're gonna do for the week, what we're gonna do for next time, getting ready to go, she just casually drops the idea of a threesome with no context or explanation, and like we ended the call and we look at each other, and it led to some problems. Like I won't name names, but one of us was like, okay, I would consider this. It seems potentially cool. And one of us was like, no, never. I don't think so.
Okay, hold on. I need to be carried along a little better here. Which is that this was like a parting joke, like, what are we gonna do next week? It's like, well, we could have a threesome.
Even a joke.
Help me out, because I don't know how to interpret it.
It was here's something we might consider talking about in the future kind of comment, based on what she knew about us and what we wanted out of our relationship.
I know what I missed. I thought the therapist was suggesting that you have a threesome with the therapist.
Oh God, no.
That's what I missed.
No.
I'm like, what the
Yeah, no, that would be a serious breach of protocol.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry, Brett. I'm back.
Okay.
You're all like, well, we thought about it. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, I want to talk about all of the fun queer stuff I've been doing lately, but I feel like that's actually a separate segment from the mental health corner. So I will pass the mic.
Oh man, you just put the Beastie Boys in my head. It's gonna take a while to get it
out. Well, I mean, I can go. I think I talked about this last time. You weren't on, Jeff. But I am now, for the first time in 6+ years, not on any antidepressant at all. I'm only on my Dexedrine, because the antidepressant I was on was that I thought was going to work absolutely did not. And so there were some side effects that were just completely non-tenable. And so I had to come off of it. The withdrawal process was worse than I thought that it was going to be, because it's supposed to not be one that has a lot of withdrawal. It did. I got brain zaps for the first time, which I've never had before, which are not fun.
What is that?
So a lot of people had them coming off of typical SSRIs. I'd never had them before. And this is not supposed to be a typical SSRI. So I was a little bit surprised. But basically what it feels like is that somebody has like static electricity. And like when you get like a shock, like on your finger or something, it's like that, but in your brain.
Ow. Whoa.
So it's fucked up. And so the thing is that it can happen anytime. And so inside your head, like you will like feel a little something, and it's almost like somebody is like shaking maracas or something, like, or shaking sand, like inside your ears is kind of the best way I can kind of describe it. So it'll kind of come out of nowhere. Like I could be moving around and it could happen, but I could also be like completely still and just be like, hit me.
Holy shit.
It's not great. It's pretty shitty. And a lot of people have them. Some people claim that they have them for like years after getting off of antidepressants. I'm personally a little skeptical of that, as I am skeptical of most symptoms of that nature. I think there's a lot of
anecdotal symptom reports.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a strong believer in hypochondria being like, not to say people don't think they experience things, but hypochondria is a real fucking thing. And so I'm not going down that rabbit hole of like, oh, I'm never going to get rid of this stuff. It's gotten significantly better. It's pretty minimal now, but it does still happen like at night. Sometimes like it'll just kind of hit me, but it's not all the time during the day. It would just be randomly hitting me, while I'm trying to do something, which completely takes you out of whatever your thought process is. So, fun withdrawal, fun meaning not, but now I'm not on anything but my Dexedrine, and my doctor agreed that this is a good idea. His theory had been for a long time, I think it's a good one, because I've had so many major depression episodes in my life. The more that you have, the higher the likelihood is that you will have another one. And so like if you've had one, there's like a 40 something % chance you'll have another. If you had two, there's like a 70 something % chance you'll have a third. If you have three, there's, like it just goes up and up and up. And I've probably had in my life, if I'm like being completely honest and going through it, I probably had 5. And so, and I might not even be counting all of them because some of them have been extended. So I, for that reason, he has wanted me to basically, like he told me when I was like 21, it was like, you'll probably never be able to go off of antidepressants. That's just like a reality in your life. And other than like the 2.5-year period that I ghosted my shrink, that has been the case. Basically since I was 14 years old, I've been on some sort of antidepressant or another. I'm not right now. We're trying to see kind of what my baseline is and where things are. The good thing about the Auvelity, even though it didn't ultimately work for me, was I think that it got me out of at least the like suicidal, life ending, unable to get out of bed like depression, right? Like it got me past that point, right? And to be clear, as I talked about before, it was bad enough that, you know, like when I look back on it, I'm like, okay, this might be, if I ever have anything like this again, I'm not treating this. I'm not like, I will fucking go on disability leave before I will um uh try to deal with the medication changes while working ever again, or B, I'm going to actually, for the first time in my life, like prioritize my health over my career, which are all good things. So I think that the good thing about it, even though it ultimately didn't work and ultimately has some side effects that were completely non-tenable, I think that it got me out of like that place. So that's good. So now we're just going to kind of evaluate, you know, where our base levels are, watch things, look at some other stuff, see how things kind of come back. And then, you know, maybe after the first of the year or whatever, we can, you know, talk about experimenting with other things. And then there's, you know, he has questions and I do too about like, okay, how proactive do we want to be? Because if I'm not actively depressed, then do I need to be seeking out treatment? If that, especially if that can cause, you know, the side effects and finding the right med balance and all that shit. Right. So, it's just kind of a balance now, I think, of watching things, paying attention, and then like trying to like, you know, ensure that um, I definitely don't want to go back into a place where I'm falling into a depression again. And this is where I am very, very grateful. As much as major depression sucks, I am very grateful that I don't have bipolar, because I don't know how I would deal with, like, I can't even imagine what it would be like to like feel okay and then immediately be like pitted back into, you know, feeling depressed again, or even feeling, you know, like mania or whatever, with very little, you know, like preparation. So that's sort of my update. I'm only on Dexedrine. Things are going well so far. I was in San Francisco for 10 days, and so I got back on Sunday, which is like a week ago, basically 6 days. No, I got back Saturday, so I got back a week ago, as we're recording this. But I was there previously for 10 days, and Get Up Universe was fun, and now I'm just kind of, you know, trying to pick up the pieces of my life over the
You were there
last
for
4
10
months.
days.
Yeah.
That's so long.
It is so long. Yeah, no, I was fortunate that the hotel A had a good rate for like long-term stay, and B, that they gave me an upgraded room. It wasn't like a massive room. It wasn't like the room that I got when I stayed at the W in uh, uh, Westwood or West Beverly Hills or whatever, last month, where I got like a 2-bedroom suite that was like 785 square feet. It was ridiculous. I'll have to put the video on Instagram because I forgot, with all my weird mental health bullshit. My social media postings have been bad, but yeah, I was there for 10 days, which is a long time, and I lost my voice, which is why my voice is the way it is. Oh, one quick thing, and then I'll shut up, because this is, speaking of social media, I do want to bitch about this for a minute, because it's impacting me and it's not. So on the 7th, November 7th, which was the day before Get Up Universe kicked off, I sent a tweet. I quote retweeted my boss, who was showing off our badges, which are Raspberry Pi based, and I was like, I can't wait, you know, to do so many cool things with my badge. And then I also like took a photo of my laptop keyboard that had my badge on it and a sticky, and I was like, get ready for Get Up Universe, you know, go here, you know, follow along with us. It kicks off in 20 hours or whatever. Then I tried to change my display name to go like from Christina Warren to Christina Warren is back at Get Up Universe. Something about that, I think, tripped up one of Twitter's automated systems. And they were like, we think you're a bot, or this is an automated account, or this is being spammed or whatnot. And so first they locked me out of my account. And then I reset my password. I was able to get back in, but I can't tweet. I can't retweet. I can't like. I can't bookmark. I can't DM. I can't do anything at a very important time. Not only that, but if you go to my Twitter profile, so if you go to twitter.com/film_girl, it will be like, this account may have violated rules and has been restricted. View, you know, are you sure you want to view these tweets? And you have to click on yes to be able to view my content. Again, I've tweeted lots of fucked up shit over the years. I did not violate any rules, not even by Elon's current standards, right? Like, I literally did nothing. But I'm caught in some sort of automated system trap. The problem is when you file a support request, there's no one apparently there to respond.
That person doesn't work there anymore.
Right. And then it gets worse because for a while, this is at least sort of fixed, but not that it changes anything. For a while, I would file a ticket, and then they would be like, okay, we filed this ticket. If this doesn't solve the problem, they'd give me an automated thing, reset your password. If this doesn't solve your problem, reply to this email. Then to add to the ticket, I'd reply to the email and they'd be like, yeah, this ticket's closed. File another ticket. Then I would try to log into my account. It wouldn't let me log in. And then I couldn't file a ticket because I couldn't log in. So I'm in this Kafka-esque situation where I cannot reach anyone in support. I cannot get anything with my account unlocked, and I didn't do anything wrong. And and of course it happened at the most inopportune time when like I actually need Twitter for my job. So if anybody out there just on a lark, I seriously doubt it at this point because everybody who has the opportunity in most cases have left the company. If anybody works at Twitter and can somehow put eyes on this, because I back channeled with some Twitter employees who are like, yeah, I can't even view your account. And I'm like, okay, but you have to know somebody who can. Like, come on now. But I'm back channeling through like other people. I'm not having a direct conversation. So if anybody out there has any connections at Twitter whatsoever, like I will pay people, like Twitter employees. I will bribe you with gift cards or with whatever if you can just fucking unstick my account so that I can tell people to follow me on Mastodon.
First Twitter employee I see tweeting about being in the first row to Taylor Swift concert, I'm going to know who helped.
I mean, totally. I mean, I'm not going to pay you $10,000, but like, I will.
Not Portugal.
Yeah. That was from our pre-show banter that didn't make it. We were talking about potential gift guides for like money is no object things. I don't have that kind of money, but I will like buy you a gift card or something. Anyway, that's me, and I'll stop talking now.
So about this hypochondria, mm-hmm. I think I might have that. What are the symptoms? I'm just kidding.
That's good.
Jeff, what you got? How's your mental health?
I don't know. It's I'm paying attention to it. I don't know. I feel like I'm in a phase that's, good in a way, which is like, I feel like I have a sort of a self-awareness that I don't always have when I'm having any kind of mental health change or shift or whatever, and I'm able to like, I don't know if calibrate maybe to that sounds like bluster to say that I can calibrate it quickly, but like I've just had some luck kind of noticing and being like, you know what, I think this is, and then being able to do something that sort of re-grounds me a little bit. And that's been nice. So it's, I've been kind of all over the place, but that's been a common thread, which is really great. I had like a really long October. October has always been full of weirdness for me. It's the month that I found my mom in a coma in her apartment. It's the month that I had the manic episode that led to a bipolar diagnosis. Like it's the month that my son was diagnosed with MS. By the way, these are 3 years in a row. And this one wasn't, nothing like that exactly. It was just a lot. There was just a lot that happened, a lot going on. I had, we had a trip when I wasn't quite ready for a trip. We had part of that trip was my son looking at a college he's interested in LA. And I don't particularly want him to move out of the state. And I definitely don't want him to move to LA, even though I 1000% support it. Cause you got to go where you got to go. And I get it. I lived that, but it's like, but we like each other. You don't have to go that far. And then it was just like some family stuff and just whatever. My grandmother died, which was, honestly fine. She was 96. Oh. She had 6 kids who still liked her, and all of her faculties. And so I wasn't feeling like a ton of grief about it, because I was more kind of like, that's a hell of a finish line. And she would say the same thing. Like she lost one of her close friends the week before and was like, well, she lived a good long life. And I think if she were to speak to us from the afterlife, she would say the thing she misses most is bingo. And some of her prizes in the assisted living facility had to be returned to the bingo kitty, actually, after she died, which is really sad and kind of funny. But she lived to go anyway. But that's still like a disturbance in the force, right? Like, and there are just so many things at once. It was like work stressors and everything. A whole October, it was like not one thing, but it was like I came out of it just completely fried in every possible way, and I'm feeling like I'm getting kind of backgrounded again, which is nice. Although I still don't want my kid. He's applying for schools, getting accepted to schools, and it's like I realize I'm not ready to lose what is essentially just a great roommate, which I realize is not normally or always the case with a 18-year-old in your house, but we got really lucky. And I will just say that experience and knowing that that's coming, or like doing kind of lasts, which is like last night there was like a banquet for the end of season for his cross country team, and like that's the last time we'll do that. Like you're done with that. And like every time we hit one of those, it's like I definitely am like I have a hard day, like more just like a really melancholy day. And so that's just another piece that's going on right now. But we were blessed, not to talk about the weather, but it isn't irrelevant in a mental health conversation. We were blessed in Minnesota with some extra warm and sunny days beyond what we deserve for having decided to live here, for at least our ancestors having decided for some fucking reason to stop here and not go a little further west or south. And that has helped me a ton to just have those like sunny days. It's like because the first couple, man, when it snowed the day before Halloween and then it was gray and dark, I was like, I was not feeling good. I was like, it's gonna be a long winter. So anyway, long winters. Hi, John Roderick. That's what I got. It's kind of a ramble. That's what I got.
Yeah, that's perfect.
My therapist did not suggest a threesome. I don't want to say that out loud. I don't want to say that out loud. I can't believe I thought, even for the few seconds that I thought that's what was happening, Brett, I was like, okay, hold on, pause the recording.
Right.
we got a problem, but that's we're all good. We're all good. My wife is a therapist. I'm like slightly familiar with the professional.
Right. Like my mom is too. My mom's not a sex or relationship therapist, so I was like, well, maybe in that thing, but that's still, I was like, this doesn't seem right, but also, I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
So,
all right, what do we got?
So this, I can segue into this, as part of my like mental health work. I've begun realizing that despite identifying as pansexual, I also have some serious internal homophobia that I don't apply to other people. I only apply to myself.
Yeah, that makes sense completely.
There's like a lot of self-hate around it. So I have been making an effort to
probably from your religious trauma.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. I have been making an effort to be in more queer spaces and just be comfortable with myself in those spaces. So last week, Elle and I went to a queer dance night and hung out with like 100% queer people all night and had a great time. Then we went to a queer art market in Rochester, Minnesota. I got a great Barbie colored ACAB rug. It's like a welcome mat. And then for Thanksgiving, we're going to the only gay bar in La Crosse, Wisconsin. The only official gay bar. There's another one that's been adopted by the gay crowd, but doesn't bill themselves as a gay bar. Chances are.
Does that mean
what?
Go ahead.
What's that?
Does that mean that the closest gay bar to you is La Crosse,
it is.
Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's a half hour away. But okay. we're going to their Thanksgiving brunch, even though there would likely not be any food that two vegan or pescatarian gluten intolerant people can eat. but go for a little bit of day drinking maybe. And I'm going to meet up with a couple of people that I've met online and have never had the pleasure of talking with in person. Some very weird people that I'm excited to like talk to you in person instead of just the slow progress of Snapchat and messages conversations. But yeah, so I'm enjoying this space. It's a lot of fun. I actually feel more comfortable in these spaces than I ever do in ostensibly straight places that obviously have queer people in them, but they're not there to be themselves. They're there to mask and to fit in with everybody else and to go to a queer dance night where there's just no question. If you walk in the door, it's assumed you're queer and you might have to prove you're straight, but like it's an opposite environment that I'm used to, and I like it.
Let's talk about what it would look like to prove you're straight in such a context.
I think you'd have to be a real asshole in that context. I don't know.
I mean,
so you're saying more like what would make, I think you might be, I don't mean so much like what would make it obvious that you're straight, but if someone were to literally say, I need you to prove you're straight.
Yeah, no, I
don't think you could.
I misphrased that. That was phrased poorly. I'm just,
and I say that for fun. That's a fun thought experiment for me.
And I don't know if this is what your experience is, Brett. My experience in those spaces is that there's very little you can do, right? Like there are some people who, and stereotypes are often wrong, who might just like give off a vibe and they'll be like, okay, well, clearly this is like the random straight person who, you know, was an ally and was invited along, and we'll accept that. But weirdly, I think like they will, okay, this is how it was historically. I think this has actually changed now, but historically you could get away with being a quote unquote street woman and having that be believed in queer spaces, like what you're talking about. But if you're a man of any type, it is just assumed that you are in denial. At least 20 years ago, you were not even bisexual. You were gay, and you were lying to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
That I think has changed a little bit, although biphobia is still very real, and especially towards men. Women, it's assumed, but towards men, it is absolutely assumed that if you have any interest in a guy at all, that you are actually a homosexual and that you are a complete liar and you don't actually like pussy. And which is ridiculous.
What's frustrating about that is that came just as much from the gay community.
Oh, I know.
As it did from the straight community.
No. I want to be very clear. What I'm talking about right now, that attitude, I'm sorry, I to not have been clear. That attitude, I was specifically speaking about queer spaces. Yeah, I was specifically talking about the attitude from gay spaces. For sure. Predominantly, specifically largely male gay spaces. Yeah. Because I spent a lot of time in largely like male queer space, like gay spaces. They wouldn't even use the word queer in high school and college. And any guy who would, you know, express anything, oh, you're just in denial. You're actually bisexuals don't exist. You're gay.
You can't like dick and even have a whiff.
No,
of
right.
Vagina. Like
no, exactly. It is not a thing. Now that might have changed some. I think that there's still some of that in the gay community. Women, though, you used to be able to at least get a pass where they'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, she's straight. Now I think that there's more of an assumption there, which is like, oh no, you know, you're bi or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it used to be like in straight circles, it was this general assumption that all women were a little bit bi, just because guys sexualized.
Oh, just because we'll make out when we're drunk.
Right.
I mean, that's really what it is. College girls make out when they're drunk.
It was easy for people to say, oh yeah, all women are a little bit bi. Give them enough alcohol, give them the right environment, and they'll go for it. But guys were like
completely not.
So anti-homo.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm talking about straight spaces now.
Oh no, like, I know.
I had gay friends in high school, and they had that mentality. Like I began to realize I had bisexual feelings in high school, and they would not accept that.
Right.
If I had any bisexual feeling, obviously I was gay, and I had just needed to come out of the closet and just date guys from that point on, and it didn't work for me. I didn't meet my first self-professed openly bisexual person until I was probably 19, and it was eye-opening to find someone that was just so confident, that he knew what he wanted, he knew what he liked, he knew what he needed, he loved who he loved, and like it was like I remember exactly how that guy looked talking to him on the porch at a party. But
yeah,
it's an amazing thing, especially when you encounter that when you're young.
Yeah,
it's amazing
for sure. I was actually trying to think about who the first person I ever met was bisexual was, and it sounds like I'm being two-faced here or hypocritical. I'm not, I swear, because he's actually completely homosexual. But one of my best friends who claimed to be bi, but that was because of religious trauma, because really he's gay, but would be like, oh no, it's a choice. And it's like, no, it's not. Like his mom like his mom sent him to like, conversion camps and stuff, where he would then fucked like the guys there, would bribe him with cars and stuff. It was
I always imagined that was a pretty good hookup spot. Not that it was an uncomplicated hookup spot, but it was.
It's like a methadone clinic is a great place to squirt heroin.
Well,
also like it's resistance, right? It's just like
what's fucked about it is that you're right, probably a good hookup spot, but what's really gross about it is that you've got all these like high school like boys and these adult men who are gay, who are pretending that they can pray the gay away, who then fuck the high school boys. Like that's what actually happens in these religious places.
I forgot that you had. I was thinking all the same age.
No. I mean, you do have people the same age, but like really, like it's like. It's basically molestation, is basically what happens. And because you have a bunch of like completely like closeted.
Which, honestly, yeah, that's the thing is like that much repression leads to, we'll call it unhealthy behavior. Like 50-year-old men fucking 15-year-old kids. That's not.
I mean, that's not unhealthy behavior. That's illegal. Like that's a sex crime. But yeah,
sure. But that's what repression leads to, which is why so many Christians, Christians equate homosexuality with pedophilia. Because this happens when you're so repressed.
Oh, totally.
But hey, you gotta insert the word can lead to. You can't just say it leads to. It can lead to. I mean,
yes, absolutely. Yes, no. Very good thing. Many times it does not. There are plenty of people who have, even no matter how gay they are or what their sexuality is, are never going to cross a line and prey on someone who's under their care or younger than them or break the law. Like that's you're absolutely right. That is one of the reasons why like that stereotype, things is a problem. Ironically, my mom, it was Andrew who claimed to be bisexual, which no. That my mom was the one who I think was like most insistent with him about that stuff. And my mom is pretty religious, but like he would like cry with her about like not being able to, basically pray the gay away. And this was like in 1999. And my mom was not super progressive about that stuff then until like meeting him, because he basically lived with us and was just like, this is not a choice. There's nothing that he is like it completely changed her entire outlook on homosexuality and then later, trans stuff too, because she, realized she was like, no, this is not something that he's just, opting to do. This isn't sin. This is just who he is. And so, who the fuck am I to like judge this or to have any sort of like moral, like feel like this is any sort of moral failing.
We should do some sponsor reads.
We should do some sponsor reads.
Oh, yeah, every sponsor would appreciate
I was going to say.
Well, okay. And now on a later note, we could have some marimba music right now.
Mm-hmm.
There, everyone's in a better mood, right? It worked. I swear it worked. Let's kick it off talking about Notion.
All right. So Notion, which is an application that I've used it's a service really, notion.com, notion.so. I've been using this, for 5 or 6 years as one of the many tools that I use for note taking. And one of the things that I really like about Notion that I think it's really great at, they kind of invented sort of kind of the modern block-based kind of WYSIWYG way of creating good looking documents that you can collaborate on and share with others. But what I use it for in a lot of cases is for like creating like wiki like content, because you can make it public. You can make your Notion file public and you can share it with other people so that they can access things. And I think it's a really, really good tool that you can use as your second brain. And so one of the things that I've used Notion for over the years, like I said, is to almost create a wiki of things, because I can have a Notion document. It can have lots of subpages. It can have lots of things linked into it. It's pretty. You can export it as Markdown and all kinds of other stuff. But then I can publish it on the web and give that link to anybody so that they can access that stuff and they can see all those things. Or I can invite them to be a guest in my workspace if I want to do that too. So one of the things that the sponsor of today's episode, who is Notion, incidentally, has done is they've just announced their new feature called Q&A, which is an AI assistant basically based on your own notes and documents. And so basically it'll take everything that you've got in your projects and your notes, your docs, your wikis and whatnot, and it creates an AI out of that. And so you can then ask it questions like, okay, how do I, like if we had one for Overtired, for instance, and we let's say we wanted to have something for guests, and we said, okay, what settings do I need to enable on my Mac to make sure I can record locally? Then it would immediately be able to just tell me, this is what you want to do, basically being trained on the stuff that are in my own files. So this is a feature they announced this week. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but I'm actually excited about it because I think that this is the sort of stuff that AI can be really great for, when the training is not just on these large language models that might be able to tell us historical heat averages in Chicago in the month of November,
or make up lies.
Right? but when it can actually be based on things that we actually have ourselves, right? Like our own documents and using that as the basis stuff. So Notion AI, which is what Q&A is part of, can now give you instant answers to your questions using information from across your wiki, project, docs, and meeting notes. So if you want to try Notion AI for free, you can do that by going to notion.com/overtired. That's all lowercase, notion.com/overtired, notion.com/overtired, to try powerful, easy to use Notion AI today. And when you use our link, you're supporting our show. So again, that is notion.com/overtired.
Thanks, Christina. That was beautiful. I also want to talk about Around Square. That experience of learning something new that would have been so useful last week, or finding something special that you hadn't realized you'd been missing all these years? Well, today might be one of those days. Around Square is a company that you've probably never heard about, but for certain people, the brand, the products, and the ideas just really resonate. Since 2007, Around Square has been designing and producing beautiful, unusual, functional goods for the mind and body. Their specialty is a range of intriguing little objects for everyday carry. Many of these things could be called skill toys, dexterity trainers, or fidget items, but they don't really conform to these labels, and none of them really do the products justice. They're striking, minimalist objects, more akin to jewelry than playthings, but they're also serious tools designed for creative exploration and peaceful manipulation. Things to keep the hands busy and the mind at ease by providing just the desired level of stimulation. Around Square's eclectic range goes way beyond this and includes stationery, jewelry, functional clothing, and much more. Check it out at aroundsquare.com, AROUNDSQUARE, and use the code Overtired at checkout for 15% off. That's aroundsquare.com. We could talk about the Grammys for a second.
Oh, yeah, let's
Christina,
talk about
do
the
you wanna-
Grammys. I do want to talk about the Grammys because my boys were nominated for 6 Grammys. The boys, of course, being Boy Genius. So and then Phoebe Bridgers got another nomination on her own. So yeah, Grammy nominations came out, and I was actually like, for the first time in a few years, actually kind of interested, because I was like, oh, okay, actually these are some good picks. Like last year, which to be honest wasn't that great of a music year anyway, I kind of didn't care. But this year, SZA was like the big nominee. Her album is excellent. It came out at the end of last year. It's a great record. So I was very, very, very glad to see her up for, I think, 11 nominations or maybe 10. But anyway, she got like the most. She led, and as she should. But also Miley Cyrus, Overtired fave,
Yay.
got 6 nominations, including Record of the Year for Flowers. Um, Taylor Swift, other favorite of the pod, she also got 6 nominations. I don't think she's going to win any, which is fine. The best shot that she would have would be with Anti-Hero, which is a great fucking song for Record of the Year, but that's going to lose, as it should, to Kill Bill. So, and she's not going to get her 4th album of the year win for Midnight. She's just not. It's not an album of the year winner. It's a good record, but it's not album of the year. So it's not Red, which lost, and it's not 1989 Fearless or Folklore, which all won. So whatever. Lana Del Rey got some nominations, which is great. And then again, like I said, I was most personally happy that the Boy Genius got 6, including Song of the Year and no, they didn't get Song of the Year. They got Record of the Year and Album of the Year, which very, very impressive.
Not bad.
No, not at all. Like, and Gracie Abrams, who I've been obsessed with for like years now, was nominated for Best New Artist. She will lose to either Ice Spice or Noah Kahan. I think Noah should win, but that's also a cursed award. So you're kind of of two minds with that. You're like, do you want to win Best New Artist or do you not? Because there's like this thing, I don't know if you guys have heard this, but like the people who win Best New Artist, their careers either like fall off or they die.
That's just science.
No, but it's kind of like a thing, like Amy Winehouse, like God. So like again, I guess. Okay.
I think I know what it was that killed her, though.
Right. So okay, but then we're gonna go through like
God bless her.
we're gonna go through the Best New Artist winners, and we're gonna just think about how many of these have had maintained careers. So let's just go from. All right, we're gonna start with 1991 because I think this is actually an interesting list. Okay, actually, no. In fairness, to say that there were some that had long-standing careers. 1988, Tracy Chapman. Now, she did have a career. Fast Car is nominated for Best Country Performance, and that's an amazing song. I think we could also say, though, Tracy Chapman, she had the huge success of that record, and Give Me One Reason with Wyclef. Tracy Chapman hasn't had a real commercial career. That's been huge, and is certainly not as big as she deserves to be. Tracy Chapman.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted by how good Tracy.
No, Tracy Chapman's fucking astounding. Like, if you haven't seen her performance at Wembley during the Nelson Mandela concert, we did. I'm just saying,
where she was just brought on by a total freak synthesizer accident.
Correct. I'm just saying. We talked about this, but if listeners do not know this, watch that performance because it's unreal. All right, so she wins.
If you're not completist, you haven't heard every single episode of Overtired.
Correct. Okay, so she wins in 88. Or 89, I guess. Mariah Carey wins in 90. Now, Mariah Carey clearly has had a massive career, right? So she is immune from the curse. Mark Cohn, Walking in Memphis. Has anyone ever heard another Mark Cohn song ever again? You have not.
Never even heard his name since then.
Right. Exactly. Arrested Development, 1992. No, fell off.
Mr. Webb.
Exactly. Tony Braxton, 1993. Meh, right? But I wouldn't say huge post like 94, 95. Sheryl Crow. Yeah. I would say she had a real career. Hootie and the Blowfish. No. Darius Rucker had to go to fucking country music, right? Like they fell off.
I was gonna say, he did fine.
He did fine. The rest of the Blowfish did not.
Man. I mean, I didn't like the band, but that name, you weren't going anywhere with that.
No, the rest of the Blowfish though did not. Leanne Rimes. I mean, I think she's most famous for breaking up a marriage. Then the fact that 2 versions of How Do I Live were both on the Billboard Hot 100 at the same time. Paula Cole, we know her from Dawson's Creek. Opening
she's
music.
She's like a jazzy singer, right?
No, she did. I Don't Want to Wait, the Dawson's Creek theme song.
Oh yeah,
got it. So Paula Cole dropped off. Lauryn Hill. We shouldn't talk about Lauryn Hill because Lauryn Hill. Incredibly problematic. We love the miseducation of Miss Lauryn Hill. I wish Lauryn Hill would educate herself a little bit more. Christina Aguilera. Okay. Another one, massive career. Shelby Lynn. I bet neither of you could name a Shelby Lynn song ever.
Never heard of her.
I know one Shelby Lynn song because it used to be on the Best Buy playlist. That was it. Alicia,
That's altogether too many first
right.
names.
Alicia Keys. Okay, she
Yep.
did have a
Yep.
career, right?
Yeah.
Nora,
She made it into a Bob Dylan
Is this
song. You
like-
know Bob Dylan has a song where he talks about listening to Alicia Keys.
Is this like an every other year curse?
maybe Nora. Actually, well, no, because we're about to get into some area. Yeah, I think so. I think you might be right. Nora Jones. Wow, she fell off, and she was huge, right?
Yeah.
Like she was
huge.
massive
Yeah,
and
yeah.
disappeared. Evanescence, another one. Like wow, they were like huge,
Oh.
and nobody has thought about them for forever. Although TikTok,
What was the song? What was the song?
Bring Me to Life.
It was
Okay.
it was
Wake
like
me up.
rock
Yeah.
with female vocals. It
I
really
mean, she had a great voice.
it scratched an itch for a little bit there.
It did. I mean, she had a great voice. Amy Lee, she was super goth, and they had like the goth videos, but like she had like the soaring voice, so that had like
Oh,
kind of.
I thought you meant Amy Grant. That was a whole different.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Amy
no,
Grant.
yeah. Amy Grant, completely different.
Crossover. Christian crossover.
Evanescence was also Christian, and then they like stopped being Christian, but they originally came from Christian radio.
Striper.
Maroon 5. Okay,
Striper.
Maroon 5, a
To
legitimate.
hell with the devil.
Okay, I was gonna say Maroon 5. Actually, other than Mariah Carey, probably the most successful group that we've named so far. Like I think they're scheduled to do the Super Bowl or something. Like Maroon 5. Songs About Jane was a great fucking album. John Legend. Okay, yes.
Oh, yeah, he's doing just fine because he's on every award show ever. Hey, welcome to the annual Tissue Paper Awards featuring John Legend.
Okay, so actually we now have an era where they did pretty successfully. So we got Maroon 5, John Legend, Carrie Underwood. Then we had the unfortunateness of Amy Winehouse, but that's followed up by the most successful artist of this century, Adele. Followed up by, but now we get into eras where we're like, okay,
Adele almost fell off.
She did,
but she had a comeback. But like after that award, did she do anything for like the next 10 years?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
She gets the award in 2008. 21, which is one of the biggest records
ever.
Okay.
I
comes
thought it would
out
be
2 years later.
I thought it was 421. Okay.
No, that was for 19. Okay. Then 21 comes out. She like fucking sweeps. Then she does 25, which sells 3 million copies in 1 week, which
I
will never.
I might have missed 25. I never even heard that one.
And then you heard Hello. You heard.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You think 78? You think 78 is going to be a comeback record produced by Rick Rubin?
Yes. Or his Ghost, Rick Rubin's Ghost. It'll be like Futurama style.
Obviously, yes.
Just his
beard. Okay, but
yeah.
now we get into an era where we're just like whatever. So we go to Zac Brown Band.
Huh.
No idea. Esperanza Spalding. No fucking clue.
Nope.
Bon Iver, who.
Yeah.
Esperanza Spalding still shows up in things. She's one of those people too at the award shows.
I guess so.
She's over at the end.
I guess so.
Spalding.
Bon Iver. I mean, I love Justin Vernon, but like.
Did he actually turn into a puddle in his shoes? Poor guy.
I mean, I think so. But like, I'm just saying, like at this point, more people know Bon Iver from Taylor Swift than from
for sure.
him, which is unfortunate. But that's where we are. 2012.
Let's not forget. Hold on. Let's not forget. He made a little trip to appear on a Kanye album.
Oh, that was before. Before.
I know. I'm just saying. I just want to get it in the record.
Oh well, no, I know. And to be very clear, it is the greatest Kanye record, and it is it is one of the best albums of
Rick Rubin.
Yes, it is. My
Rick Rubin,
my Dark
who says
Fantasy
that
is fucking amazing record. He's an awful person, but and he's mentally unwell and he needs help. But My Dark Beautiful Twisted Fantasy is one of the best records ever.
So good, and apparently came to Rick Rubin in such a completely incomprehensible form, and so it's awesome that the two of them could somehow figure that vision out. So great.
Okay, yeah. The next winner.
Asterisk.
Absolutely, but I will defend that album forever. And yes, you are right. He was absolutely on that record. He's on a few tracks on that record. The next winner is Fun. Now, the only person from Fun that anybody knows anything about is Jack Antonoff. So.
Did they have a period in their name?
Yes. Fun, period.
Was that all lowercase? Like they were bell hooks?
Correct.
Dude, that bell hooks gets to do
correct.
That. Okay,
yes.
Fine.
Then the next one, this is a sad one. Macklemore and Ryan Lewis. And I say sad because I live in Seattle. Then we have Sam Smith, who I personally dislike.
Wait, we have to stop. I was at a hotel in Omaha and Macklemore was playing across the street, and it was so so loud and I was trying to sleep that I tweeted him and asked him, "Could you wrap it up? I'm trying to sleep." But he didn't respond. Anyway, I don't think he was through thrift store.
I was going to say he was still thrift storing. You know, thrift store was written about the thrift store in my neighborhood. Anyway, I digress. Next winner,
I do kind of love that song,
I do too, honestly. Look, that was a great record. It was a great record. But again, kind of a one hit record. Like nothing else was going to work after that. 2014, Sam Smith. I don't care for them, but I guess they still make music.
Sam Smith. Yeah, and their outfits have gotten real good. If that's something that came out of getting that award, all of a sudden you look great in every floofy, crazy ass, awesome outfit.
Yeah, I just dislike them. I think that they try too hard. The next one, Meghan Trainor, who I hope we never hear from again, because Meghan Trainor sucks. Then Chance the Rapper, which again, an unfortunate, like great rapper. I love Chance, but we haven't heard from Chance in a minute. Then Alicia Cara, again, haven't heard from her since then. Then Dua Lipa. Okay, Dua has had a big career. Billie Eilish, Megan Thee Stallion. It's unclear if Megan's going to have like a long-term career or not. Olivia Rodrigo, who has thus far survived the second album Curse. And then last year, Samara Joy, no fucking clue who that is. So
I don't, I have no idea.
So anyway, not quite as cursed as I previously thought, but I still.
But here's what does hold up. That I was surprised by how many of those people I'm like, oh yeah, geez, that was
right.
It.
That's what I'm saying, right? It's one of those awards that you would think. Like what this proves is that the Grammys is not good at all at predicting future success. Like the New Artist Award is not at all a predictor.
I wonder if their criteria is a little skewed.
Probably.
Their motivations are slightly
probably.
Skewed.
But I mean, if you think about it, like you like, but this is what this is how the Grammys, the Recording Academy describes the award. The category recognizes an artist whose eligibility year releases achieved a breakthrough into the public consciousness and notably impacted the musical landscape, which should.
But what is consciousness?
Right. But like, so to me, that means like you should probably have more than one album in you, but. Maybe not. Anyway, that's enough of me ranting about best new artist winners. But I'm happy for the nominees, and I hope Boy Genius. The good thing I'm excited about that is that Boy Genius that their label is going to make them do so much fucking press, which means that we're going to get so much good gay content. So that's very good.
Also, I have to say the YouTube algorithm puts Boy Genius in front of me sometimes. I don't really know them that well, but man, they're fun to watch.
They're great. They were on SNL last week. They were awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. So that was fun. That was a fun listicle.
Gratitude time.
I
got a killer for you.
Do it.
What if I told you there was a game out there for your iPhone that was part of Apple Arcade and would make you forget about threes?
Tell me more.
It's called Finity, like infinity, but without the in, just Finity. And it's a pretty basic puzzle game where you move a grid of squares around to create rows of 3 or 4. And every time you move a square, it starts off with 3 potential moves, and then it loses moves, and then it gets stuck on an X or a Y axis, and then one more move in either of those directions, and it's frozen, and you can't get around it. And it's a puzzle game that has tactile. It uses the what's the tactile, the buzz. I'm forgetting the word.
Haptic.
It uses haptic feedback to make just absolutely delightful gameplay. As you like move tiles, they buzz, and when you score, there's like a big boom 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 boom, kind of. Like, I don't play with the sound on. I did once. It was cool, but my phone's always on silent. So just from haptic feedback alone, it's perfectly done. And everything that makes threes a perfect game to play in, like the psychiatrist waiting room or whatever, this game is even better. It's just a game you can pick up anytime, play until you die, let it go. I love it. I'm crazy about it.
Awesome.
And it's on Apple Arcade. So
I love it.
If you are an arcade subscriber, you already have this game.
Okay, and I am an arcade subscriber, not because I chose to be, but because it comes as part of like the Apple One like Premiere thing. So like I pay them $30-something a month to get all their services because it's cheaper than, or actually at this point it's not cheaper. It would cost the same to just buy the services that I actually want, but I might as well just get the ones that I don't care anything about,
Right,
added
because
into it.
we all need Apple Fitness.
Yeah, we all need Apple News.
Artifact. I should make Artifact a pick. I've been
Artifact
really
is
enjoying
great.
Artifact.
Yeah, Artifact is really good. Go
I
Instagram,
open
guys.
it way more than I open Apple News.
Well, yeah, because it's designed by people who actually know how to get engagement in apps.
Yeah.
Which Apple News does not. Apple News is a rebrand of an app called Texture that was previously called something else, which was just like a PDF magazines. It's a shitty experience. But yeah, I will check that out because you know me, I love me some threes, and I'm always looking for a good fidget like game to, like that's what I do.
Yep.
Like that's my go-to like way of dealing with my ADHD is playing a like mindless like mobile phone game, and people think that I'm being rude in meetings. I'm like, no, I'm not. The only way I can focus on you is if I can. The front part of my brain is doing something else, and then I'm able to actually focus on you. It's like I'm sorry if this looks rude, but this is actually how I.
You're gonna love Finity.
Okay, I'm gonna play this literally as soon as we get off. Do you have your pick?
Well, I do now because you mentioned a game. I am obsessed. Is everyone here familiar with WarioWare?
Yes.
Wario being the sort of anti-hero in the Mario universe.
He is the best part of the Mario universe, other than Luigi. It's like Luigi, like Wario, Toad, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Bowser, even fucking Princess Peach, and then Mario. Like Mario's the worst part.
Yeah, and the best part about Wario is like you could say that Bowser's an asshole, but Wario's like an actual asshole. But anyway, there's these games. There are these like micro games that are part of certain Wario games called WarioWare Inc. And my boys and I play them, and it's basically like it's so completely nonsensical. Like you fire the game up, and pretty soon you're looking at a giant boombox that just has Wario's angry face, and it's this long preamble, and then you start this series of micro games, which are literally like it'll be like catch the straw, and then you pop into a screen and a straw drops, and you have to just move a hand to catch the straw, and then you're on to the next game. It's like it's like drop the. It's just like it's amazing, and they're so absurd, and you just work your way through these micro games, and Wario in between them all just makes mean faces at you, and then you're back into the micro games, and it is the most delightful thing. And I made this call it the Protocade. It's like, it looks very Soviet. It's like a Soviet looking retro Pi arcade thing. It's like you can put it in your lap, and it has like a joystick and like arcade joystick and buttons, and it has like a screen attached to it. And you can play all the old like NES games, and I mean anything that an emulator can play. But anyway, that's where I learned to love Wario. And so I'm actually there's a box. It's like about as big as a Kleenex box, and I put a giant button in it because mostly all you have to do in Wario is hit a button, and it's gonna just sit like in front of you, and you can just be like bam bam and play these stupid micro games, and I'm so excited.
I love this so much. This is like the greatest thing ever. Like honestly, this is what makes Nintendo so fucking great is they do shit like this. And what was the stuff that they came out with, like the Labo stuff? Did you ever play with any of that?
Oh yeah, no, I never did. I mean, my boys certainly both have Switches, but they were just on the other side of the age that would be excited about that, except that I was
I was
excited
gonna say
about
I
that.
bought that as an adult. Like I bought the
Did you love it? No, I mean I was into it.
I made a fucking car that I could control. Are you kidding me?
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
So for people who don't know, this Labo is like this cardboard sort of setup thing where you build these little things, and it's kind of like, adult Legos, but it's made for kids, but it's honestly adults I think just get as much of a kick out of it. And then you can control it with your Switch. Like it's great.
Amazing. A little maker kit with cardboard that you control with your Switch. Yeah, and like it's not that my boys like, it's not necessarily you grow out of it, but there is a moment developmentally where you're just like, you're like, that seems a little too young for me.
I was gonna say there's this moment where you're like, I'm too cool for this. I'm too adult. Like I don't want to play with baby toys. And then like a few years later, usually when you're like in college, you're like, why the fuck did I not want to play with baby toys? Like kid toys are the best. Like, so Yeah, but there's like this moment, like in like I would say like late middle school, early high school, where you're just like, no, I'm above this, and then you actually like experience a little bit of adulthood, and you're like, no, I want to go back to like the shit that I played in elementary school. That was the greatest stuff ever. I can appreciate this now.
It's like I totally messed their heads because they've started loving Wes Anderson movies.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I was like, you realize Owen Wilson was Lightning McQueen, right? Which was like their whole world or whatever. It really took them a minute to integrate those two realities.
Oh, that's amazing. And that has to be like a complete like mind fuck for them a little bit too. That's really cool.
I was surprised they didn't realize it because they know everything about everything, but they're like, oh my God, you're right. That way. And it's like, yeah, it's not the Tartuning Limited, Owen Wilson. It's a different man. Anyway, Christina, you're up.
So my pick is going to be two things. And it's a little weird for me to pick these. And I kind of was thinking about picking them before the news yesterday broke, but now it's awkward. We didn't even talk about it. OpenAI imploded as a company yesterday. Still don't really have the full idea of what's going on. I've already got my fucked company merch because I'm literally not that you guys can see this. I do. I'm wearing my OpenAI Dev Day sweatshirt, which is probably now a collector's item. God, I can't believe that wasn't even 2 weeks ago, and that was one of the most impressive Dev Day things I've seen.
Crazy.
And I was really looking forward to talking about it actually with both of you because a lot of the stuff they introduced was really cool. But
I've been messing with those custom GPTs.
Same. But on that note, one of the apps we've mentioned them before, but I wanted to give it another mention because it's already been updated. Is Mac GPT from Jordi because he'd already updated it to support the latest model stuff as well as their text to speech stuff, which is actually really good. So he released that update like basically as soon as they made their changes. So he's basically like already has support for the GPT-4 Turbo with the 128,000 tokens, and he's included their text to speech models, and Mac Whisper, which is an app that Jordi Bruin also makes. I don't know if this. I've got to check this to see if the newest version supports Whisper 3.0 or Whisper V3, but this is a great app. I mean, you technically, because Whisper is open source, you technically don't have to like have a front end with it. You could just use it, command line or whatnot. But the front end is really nice, and it's in my opinion, one of the best ways to do any sort of transcription. It happens locally on your machine, especially for people like Jeff who need to transcribe things, and you don't necessarily want to send them to a cloud because you don't really trust that because you might be talking to people in places where like that's sensitive information and you don't want that living on anyone's cloud. Whisper is a great thing for that. And Mac Whisper is great because you can literally just drag in a file or enter in a YouTube URL and it'll pop out the transcript for you. So Mac Whisper and Mac GPT are my picks. But awesome. A little bit weird timing because we don't know what.
So crazy.
Yeah.
Because they ousted their CEO, right?
Yeah, and then Greg Brockman,
who, by the way, whose resting face is the face of someone who just got ousted. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I was just looking at those photos. I'm like, he's always looked that way.
No, it's ousted him, and then as soon as he was ousted, Greg Brockman, who was basically the face of all their developer stuff,
just
quit. To me, that was what freaked me out even more than Sam leaving, because Sam raised money and was like, the CEO and whatnot. But for me, I'm like, the company that I like, that the people I care about, know about and are excited by is Greg. What does this look like without Greg?
Is there an official Microsoft reaction to this news?
That we have a long-standing partnership with OpenAI and will continue to work with them. I mean, that's the official thing, but the reporting, all I can say is this: what the reporting says. I don't know if this is true or not. She says, as she definitely knows, is that Microsoft was made aware of the situation about a minute before the blog post went public, so no one had any idea it was coming.
Even internally they didn't know. Like a lot of people, in the company learned about it from the public blog post.
Oh yeah, no, because I mean, they literally told Sam, I think according to his statement, Sam Altman says he found out he got a meeting half an hour before it happened, and that Greg Brockman, who was chairman of the board, got an invite 5 minutes before it happened. And basically they called him, Sam says they called him into a meeting, fired him over Google Meet, which, wow, that's a sentence. And then Greg found out that he was that the Sam was fired or whatever, and they were dismissing him as chairman of the board. I had assumed there had been a vote, and that Sam and Greg, who are on the board, voted for Sam, and the other board members voted against. And then they were like, well, as chairman of the board, we can't have you be chairman if you're gonna, not support us. So we'll take that. But from their own statements, that's not what happened. We'll find out more as real reporting is able to be done. Right now, it's just a complete cluster and insane. Like, one of the, like, you don't expect to see the most promising and most prominent tech company implode like less than 2 weeks after they had like a really kick-ass event, and literally the week that their biggest financial backer had their own developer event where they showed off a bunch of the technology. That would of course be Microsoft.
Crazy.
So yeah, the whole thing is pretty fucked in a lot of ways.
It is crazy. Yeah. Following
exactly. I was gonna say I have no idea it was justified or not. All I know is that it is not been handled well. But the apps and the API, for now anyway, are still good.
Yeah. Yeah. As of this morning on my couch at 6 a.m.
Right. I was gonna say
still going.
I wonder if they'll open up a ChatGPT Plus subscriptions again, because they had to close them down because apparently demand was too high. So
yeah,
we'll see.
That's a problem to have.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Although apparently the rumors are like, oh, people were like, oh no, they really just wanted to be a nonprofit focused on the research. To which I call bullshit. Then why did you take $13 billion?
Such bullshit.
Like,
Such bullshit.
Why did you take $13 million? Like, I don't believe any board member who says that was really what they thought. It's like, by the time you joined the board, for most of these people's cases, they'd already raised money from Microsoft. Like, you can't pretend like you didn't know that that the nonprofit owned a capped profit company, and that obviously there was going to be a world domination motive.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, I didn't realize they shut down Plus, which I have, and I'm really glad because I use it a lot.
Same.
Oh my god.
Same. I'm also like really glad that like I got $500 in API credits last week.
That's nice.
Because again, like, who knows what they're gonna do with the whole thing is a big like question mark, like lol sub. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, to be continued, man. Jesus.
Well, this has been a wide-ranging episode.
It has.
Started with three amigos. I just want to point that out.
It did. Which honestly, now I cannot wait to do two things. One, play Affinity, and two, what I'll probably do while I'm downloading that is watch that Three Amigos, both the clip of their review, but also the Johnny Carson reaction, because that's the thing I'm most looking forward to.
Oh my god. Yeah. All right. Well.
All right. Good to see you guys.
Good seeing you too.
Yeah. Get some sleep later.
Get some sleep.
Yeah.
The system is going down low.